Hey everybody, and welcome to another video. This is the Miniature Showcase. In today's video, we will have a look at this box from 1985. This is the Forgotten Realms Heroes box that I found in my storeroom. Now, it put a smile on my face when I saw it under the piles of figures, so I decided to put this set on video. If you've never seen this box before, this box has long been discontinued, so this video can be used to take a look at a slice of miniature history. Now, if you owned this box before, let's remember this set. Hopefully, this will be a sweet throwback to when some of you had this exact box on your shelf. This set is made by Raul Palfa. There was another set I quite like, the Heroes of Dragonlance. But I need to go and find that one. The box is a bit worn and slightly damaged, but I think I will get this box refurbished to good condition at some point. The box set was more of a product for the fans, if you ask me. The characters in this set are from the books that were out at the time, and also sculpts of famous art pieces from the Forgotten Realms universe. You know what? They should have called this box set Heroes of the Forgotten Realms books. And I think you'll see why in a while. The figures in this box are made from lead and have a very old school feel to them. On the outside of the box is something I thought I'd point out. The hobby during this time was very small, and as if to show how small it was, on the back of the box are addresses of companies or retailers that carried these figures. This is long before social media, long before emails, and long before the internet. There you go. Okay, let's look inside the box. So the first figure we're going to have a look at is Drisdan of Menzoberranzan. This character is easily the most famous in the Forgotten Realms. There are 35 books and short stories featuring this drow. Now, what is a drow? Well, it's in its simplest form, a drow is a dark elf. If you're getting into the Forgotten Realms universe, you'll end up reading one of his books. Oh, speaking of books, here are some of the books I'd recommend you to read. Homeland, Sojourn, and Exile from the Dark Elf trilogy to start. I like how they tried to capture Dritz in this sculpture, but I must say that this is a very chunky looking figure. Most of the arts of Dritz shows him as a slender adventurer, and this pose doesn't do him any justice. Next up is Elias, and Elias is the hero from the Finders trilogy, and one of the two characters from this trilogy is in this miniature box set. Now, she was first imagined on the Clyde Caldwell cover of Azure Bonds, along with her companion Dragonbait. If you were to follow the Finders trilogy, you'll know that there are a few characters who perhaps would have deserved a miniature as well. Characters like Olive Rusket, who, well, I felt played quite a role in the books. She did appear in the cover of the Wyvern Spur, also painted by Mr. Caldwell. But yeah, there's no figure of her in this set. Elias is interesting to me because she was made for, or is a construct of a Harper's Bard, Finder's Wyvern Spur. She was also made to be an assassin, but ended up as a sellsword instead. Now, she appears in the Finders trilogy. The pose for this figure looks rather plain, but the amount of detail that has gone into the sculpt is pretty good. I think she could have benefited from another pose. At the very least, the pose from the art from the Azure Bonds cover. Next up, Dragonbait. Now, this is Dragonbait. If the other figures do not scream fantasy, this one should. In the books, Dragonbait is also known as Champion. Dragonbait is a Sauriel and also a paladin, not to mention a very loyal companion to Elias. More like a brother, in fact. But how cool is that, though? a bipedal dinosaur-like paladin. Now, I remember when the guys in my group were reading Azure Bond, and there was a strong need to break away from the usual human hero. This character was pretty much that spark that made my group embrace later editions that included all the non-human-like characters. Dragonbait's pose is taken directly from the cover of Azure Bonds. If the Elias figure was done in the same pose, there was such a good opportunity for a painter to recreate the cover in miniature. Next up is Magister. Now, the Magister model is actually from the cover of the Forgotten Realms, the Magister's source book. The book took a deep dive into the world of the Magisters, so it was quite interesting that they chose this cover to inspire the figure. This figure is a chunk of lead, and it's quite weighty, but I must say that some parts of this figure, like the wrists, are quite soft, and they tend to bend quite easily. Next up is Tristan Kendrick. Now, according to the Forgotten Realms lore, Tristan first appeared in the novel Dark Water on Moonshae. Now, in this novel, Tristan starts as the heir to the throne of Cornwall, even though at the beginning of the book, he's hardly ruler material. Tristan's story is told in two trilogies, the Moonshae trilogy and the Druidholm trilogy. These stories see Tristan's story arc accepting his royal place and how he loses it only to regain his throne again. He's posed here with a sword and a bow, which even at the time when I got this box, did not make much sense to me. However, the detail on the clothing will help the new painter paint in the design. Robin Kendrick. Robin is Tristan's stepsister and also appeared in Dark Water on Moonshae. She also follows him into both trilogies that Tristan appears in. Her story moves her from sister to the heir to the ward of the king of Caer Corwell, and later High Queen and Great Druid of the Earth Mother in the Moonshae Isles. Now, Robin's miniature is also rather simple, and I suppose was supposed to show who she is while making sure the elements of her story is part of the figure. Thunderstorm. Now, here's another figure inspired by a cover. The cover art in question is the cover art by Keith Parkinson for the Forgotten Realms campaign set, nicknamed by the fans the Old Grey Box in 1987. The character was unnamed and not mentioned in the book themselves. Parkinson painted the piece, originally titled Horsemen by the Lake or Horsemen Near Lake, sometime before, and reused it for the set. It did not represent any Forgotten Realms character. The Horsemen by the Lake artwork would go on to be used on other products as well. For example, the Spawn of Dragon Spear in 1988. Now, I think if this box set had the exact figure from the cover in the box, horse and all, this figure would be fantastic. And I'm almost sure there's a figure out there somewhere that's just that. Elminster. Elminster is the most central figure in the world of the Forgotten Realms. With so many books on this character, this was an important figure in the set. You can see the inspiration for Elminster coming from Gandalf or Merlin. Elminster is also known as the Sage of Shadowdale. With Elminster as the main guy in all of Forgotten Realms, how this figure looks is very disappointing. Now, I understand that depending on which book, Elminster may end up looking like Gandalf and, but surely there's a better pose that could have been done. Here are all the books that you get when you start reading or finding out more about Elminster. There are, I think, 10 books all in all, and I think if anything, because it's so central, a lot of the lore tends to swirl around Elminster. wgar. Next up is wgar. Interestingly enough, Tritz was initially written as the sidekick to wgar. The idea was that the barbarian would take center stage, I suppose. Wulgar, son of Bornagal, is a barbarian warrior of Icewind Dale. Now, not only was he relegated to the sidekick of his sidekick, but the pose on this one screams He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I have the power! Very static, very simple, and not very heroic if you ask me. Now, Bruno. Now, this is Bruno Battlehammer, and this is the dwarf in the set. 3 times, Bruno was the king of Mithril Hall. Now, in the books, he is the adoptive father of Catti-brie and Wulgar, and is also a friend to Drisdan. This figure looks quite static by today's standards, and everything about this figure is also quite understated and simple. Now, this set is 40 years old. The look of the figures reflects that. These make great showcase figures if you're a fan of the Forgotten Realms world. Now, as long as people are reading the books, these interpretations of the heroes of the Forgotten Realms, I would say it's a pretty good buy. In fact, I'm pretty sure that it will be quite a joy to paint as well. So there you have it, the Heroes of the Forgotten Realms set. I think they were on the right track when they came out with the idea for this set. The addition of evocative artwork like Thunderstorm and Magister was a strange addition, but I suppose it's easier when you actually have the actual artwork for the sculptor to work on. Now, I haven't gotten around to painting these, as you can see, and I've just added them to my paint pile. Depending on what I have to paint and what I need to paint, I have no idea when these figures will be done. Regardless, I'm sure I'll enjoy painting these figures.